Hello everybody, this is Alex of Lee's
And Tosso.
and you're watching
InsideRock.News.
Rock On.
So it's been almost exactly a year since your first performance with Elena, and I was wondering, basically how has it been? Has it been kind of invigorating having a new member, and is she becoming more of the part of the family now?
Well, yeah, of course, after 1 year playing around the globe, of course, better and working closer and everything, it was quite a turbulent period of time back then. Now it seems to be everything running in a very good way with the schedules, the tourings, setting up already for 2018, and we released the Fires in the North EP together with Elena already last year, and working on the new record coming out next year.
That's great. That's one of the things I was going to ask you, is when we can expect a new full-length album and stuff.
January.
January, I like that.
Oh, we finished before we came on tour already the demo recordings, also with vocals, so it's in a pretty far state you could say, and so we will finish it right after the tour.
Great. I'd like to hear that. So this is your second North American tour in just a few months, because I missed you guys the first when you came through here last fall, and then I was in San Diego when you guys were in San Diego, and I just missed getting a hold of you guys to make that happen. So I was glad to get a hold of you guys here. But is that intentional? Are you guys pushing forward to try to get more of a foothold in North America, or is it just kind of more the way luck has it?
Both ways in a way, because we got offers. We couldn't even accept all offers to do for North American runs, as we also have to work in the studio and writing new songs and producing new album. And well, that tour actually was just confirmed when we came here for the other tour. We got the offer just entering the plane, let's say, and then after a couple of days, then we have already the next one coming up, and it's a perfect match with Sabaton and Dentist.
Absolutely, yeah. I saw Sabaton actually right here, I believe 2 years ago, almost exactly. They were with Delane and Nightwish, so two more of your counterparts that are definitely some of my favorites.
Killer package.
It is, but it's great to see you guys with Battle Beast and Sabaton. I think that's also just a perfect fit. I'd love to see a big day long with the all of you guys. It'd be awesome.
Oh, tell the agent.
I will.
Bring it on.
European Metal Festival for USA.
Exactly. Yep. Bring her up to the North America.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think that would be an awesome tour, and I think there'd be a lot of people looking for that.
Yeah.
Now, do you think it's hard for European bands to get a foothold in the U.S., or is it getting easier, or how do you think that is?
I think it's one of the biggest adventures you can take as a European band, because of course also the paperwork up front, with the work visa that you have to apply for, and also with all the other aspects, it's a bit more time taking, and it needs a lot of preparations. That's maybe one of the reasons why you don't see too many European bands in the States. And it has definitely not gone easier. It's really hard. We are lucky we have a 2 years visa. We were smart enough to apply for that. So, but I think it's not that easy for all European bands to come to the States.
On top we have these long distances.
Right.
You need a vehicle to go you know, from all the east to all the west and north south, you know. It's like also you don't have to forget Canadian shows also involved, and last time you know, there was like also winter time. It's always tricky with the weather as well, you know. It can be a big change, a dramatic change, and it's for all the bands coming from Europe, you know, the chance to play all over the whole continent, let's say. They take runs like that, you know, like 4, 5, 6, even 7 weeks we have been out for the last run. Now it's 5, I think. Yeah, it's also something you have to keep in mind, you know, like in Europe we can play like every weekend, and Germany is the heart of Europe, like going over there and there, or of course the European tours as well, where you go like 4, 5, 6 weeks, and what we did was like, you know, splitting up like 3 weeks, coming back home, another 3 weeks in the second part. But here you have to do everything at once, of course.
Yeah, I think your cities are generally closer together than ours are.
Also,
Makes it more difficult.
You get very easily through the country.
Yep. And it's also a little different probably for you guys too here in the U.S. because we have such a difference in climate depending on where you're at.
Yeah.
So,
from our space, we need 1 hour by car to get to France, maybe 2 to get to Switzerland. So that's the biggest distance you can drive in Germany is maybe to Wacken. It's from our place maybe 10 hours.
Inside Germany.
But that's inside Germany, then you're through.
That'd be nice. I drove 5 hours to get here today.
Yeah.
You actually answered a couple of my questions already. Do you find the European fans or North American fans, or either one or the other, are more passionate than the other, or are they about the same, do you think?
I think, Well,
I think what I like about the US fans is in Europe, the people are a bit spoiled because we have this huge festival summer run between May and September. So they can see any band they want all the time. And it has become a bit of a very... the scene of metal bands is subdivided in a lot of small sections. And I get the feeling in the US the people, they check out the band like, do they bring something? Is there a good energy? Is there something coming? And then they go for it. Or maybe in Europe it's more like, this is neo, folk, symphonic, black, Viking, blah 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 metal, which is not exactly the blah 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 section I prefer. And that's a bit sad. It's in a way flourishing, it's pretty cool, but also a bit, there are not so many bands like that can unite all the people. And actually heavy metal should be about like uniting people and uplift and with a positive energy.
I think like global metal scene is like a global metal family. Let's say that in general, and that's what is for me most important of all. There's no matter what religion, race, or whatever, you know, people are split up by politicians or religion, and this is like, you know, we have our own thing going on within the metal scene, and that's why we also touring now in the whole world. 50 countries we did with these guys. It's amazing. Would never get there as just a private person, you know, but as a metal musician, there was the possibility to see also people having the same views, having same passion for music, like you mentioned. And that's what I see here. For example, people are very, very thankful. They appreciate a lot that we take all the effort, because they know the visa applications and buses and all the flight costs, all this enormous amount of effort, you know, to come here as European band. They appreciate a lot that we come here and play.
Definitely, you know, and what most people don't know is that we charge musicians entrance fees to be able to play, where most countries don't.
I heard the rumor, I don't know if it's really true, that like while we pay like thousands of dollars to come here, you know, in comparison, like American bands, they pay like whatever, a couple of $100.
Right.
Whatever it is, you know, the thing is, either way, it should be for all the same, first of all. And it's also like we are generating stuff for American market. Like the crew guys, everybody, the bus community, everybody tells us, wow, it's good that you guys coming over, creating jobs or whatever, bringing people together, having more variety of shows, bringing some other stuff into, the metal scene here. And the same way, of course, a lot of American bands playing in Europe, and everybody likes them too.
Yeah, I definitely think it should be an even keel. It should be a same for same.
Yeah, but it's probably not us or who decides.
Yeah, you cannot. Every country has the right to decide it.
Yeah,
so
right.
Nobody's forced to play anywhere. So
that's the thing as well.
Nobody should complain about.
See, and I look at you guys. You're artists, and we wouldn't have charged Picasso to come over here and paint. So why do we charge you come over here and play guitars?
Yeah. I think it's if there is art or sports with an international exchange, I think it's always good. And a lot of people are talking about peace and the world politics and that, but in the end we're all just people and human beings, and I think it's always on the small level. It's nice if humans from different countries can. That's what we found out. As soon as you travel, people are basically, cities are different, food is different, states are different, but people are basically all the same. And that's the good thing to find out when there is an international exchange and when you travel.
Yep, definitely. I spent my time traveling in the army, and you learn a lot of the same. People are people. There's there's not really a lot of differences. Just a few minor differences, and people need to learn to get over everything else. Just remember the people are people. What area of the U.S. do you think has the highest concentration of Leaves Eyes fans?
Which part of the U.S.?
Yes.
That's a really good question.
And if you,
to be honest, I don't really know. But I know that in New York area that must be quite a lot, and some other parts we played were, I don't know, very, very great. So it's hard to tell, if there's a certain state or region. Also, Canadian shows were superb. I don't know.
Okay. No, I'm just kind of curious.
Hopefully everywhere.
Yeah, I've ran into with some bands that you can, I drive to California and talk to friends there, and they've never heard of them.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and especially like probably the best example is Jackal. I don't know if you're familiar with them or not, but they're pretty big in this area of the U.S., but you go a couple states south of here and nobody knows who they are. So, and even though they've had, over the course of their almost 30-year career, they've had a few big hits. And most people don't know who they are unless they're in a certain area. So, I don't know if you guys have noticed anything similar.
No, but most of the time we've come for full American tours. So, I think we're maybe a bit balanced on the continent.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite city in the U.S. to visit so far?
You are first. It's another tricky question for me. How to decide.
I like the cities like San Diego. I like that very much. Also San Antonio, New York, Chicago. There's a lot of. That's maybe what most Europeans don't realize. You have a lot of variety also in the landscape, in the different states. It's really nice.
Yeah, I agree.
That's the cheating answer. What he said.
And once we were even thinking about to do our headquarters in Manhattan. I remember, with the studio and stuff, or at least come here for a longer period, as we had this tour offers, and thought like, okay, why would we go always back and forth? There was an idea, but personal stuff like family and all this makes it a little bit more complicated.
Yeah, it makes it a lot more complicated, but I know bands that have done that.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what we spoke to people like that.
I know like a Storms from New Zealand, but they came and kind of hovered around Chicago for a while, and I think they're over in Canada, just the other across the river from us. But yeah, a lot of bands do that too. How has your creative process changed with having Elaine on board? Is it still pretty much about the same, or does it?
Actually, it didn't change that much, because the musical backbone of Leaves Eyes has anyway always been me and Alex.
Mm-hmm.
So what has changed is the work vocal-wise with Elina. So we were very excited about that, and that worked really nicely already on Fires in the North, and now with the new album, like we have 10, 11 songs, or even more, with really nice stable vocals. We're looking forward very much to that.
I'm looking forward to it too.
I think it will be really, really very good.
Some really great songs came out now, and
she also sound live very powerful. And Elina has this very powerful appearance, with more like an angel singing appearance.
Yep.
And Elina is very powerful, and that fits very well to the new stuff that we bring in.
Now, what I think is like Leaves Eyes was always developing within the own musical style. Let's say we had from the beginning like the contrast of bombastic and epic stuff, and more dynamical music and elements, natural instruments. We will keep this, of course, and choirs, and that's for us important, to have also from the lyrical aspect, to keep the northern mythology aspect going in Leaves Eyes as well. So I think it's like development from the last album, King of Kings, into the new chapter.
Yeah, definitely. I was, like all the fans, I was a little apprehensive, to find out, there's a vocalist change, or those things always make some difference. So I was apprehensive, but when I heard the music, it sounds perfect. She's definitely a great fit. Have you guys noticed any increased interest in Leaves Eyes since the show Vikings has become so popular?
Well, I think it's always like if something goes to cinema or on television or like a TV show like this, there will be an extra of attention, people going and research maybe on the internet, is there something connected to that period of time, and they're interested in, like history-wise, and then they find out, oh, there's also bands singing about that, or music, and I guess that some fans out there from the TV show discovered our band, and as also Lindy Fay was singing, the singer of Vardruna, and they do some music for Vikings too. So that's probably also something which connects somehow, and I think for us also the reenactment scene is something which is a great passion, and also been there long before, and we have a lot of friends there. We bring Vikings on stage, our friends from the groups we know, whenever possible. Unfortunately not tonight, but just on the last shows they have been with us on stage, and there will be more shows coming up. And this is also something I like to take part in private life, and I have a lot of friends there, and go some trainings too. The events we have in Europe, for example, I know there are some in America too. They are amazing, like these medieval events or even Viking only events. It's awesome, and that's something very interesting, because a lot of metal fans, they join that kind of hobby, let's say, or lifestyle, because they heard the music first, and then they swap over to a reenactment.
Yeah, I have a lot of friends that do the reenactment festivals and all the medieval festivals, and and I've always been since I was a kid. I got hooked at a young age at Dungeons and Dragons, and I was just always kind of really like the medieval times. Just always seemed like something. And if there's anything medieval on TV, you can guarantee my wife is watching it right now. What newer bands are you guys listening to right now?
Well, all kinds of stuff.
I have to say, I don't listen to too many new bands. Most of the stuff I'm personally listening is 70s and 80s stuff a lot.
What?
Yeah, of course, bands like the classic hard rock bands. Rainbow, Deep Purple,
Deep Purple, some Dio.
That's the stuff.
It's all in my rotation too.
Yeah, but you can never go wrong with that.
I like all kinds of bands. I mean, of course the classics. But also it was funny, as we spoke about Elina's first show, like 1 year back, it was in Indonesia on a big festival, and that was Rise of the Northern Star, French hardcore metal crossover band.
Yeah, I've heard them.
I liked them very much, and they were just playing before we went on stage. So I liked it to see them also live. Big fan of their album. I like also it's like Lamb of God and a lot of other stuff, which is not so much symphonic metal or something like that, but also all kinds of other music.
Yeah. Well, diversity is the spice of life. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, if you could have written any song in history, what song would you have written?
These are questions.
I don't like to ask the questions that everybody else has asked if I can help it.
Yeah.
Like keep you on your toes.
That's hard. You first.
Maybe The Rime of the Ancient Mariner from Iron Maiden. That's one of my favorite songs.
Good choice.
Thank you.
Not a brick in the wall.
That's a good
Whatever.
Yep.
Just maybe one of the Pink Floyd or Deep Purple stuff. Now you can. We don't speak about Smoke on the Water, but you can pick.
Elton John, The Crocodile.
Well, I'd probably pick another one, Bites the Dust, and Queen. That's all.
Or some AC/DC would be also cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.